My name's Jordan. I live in the Pacific Northwest and I want to be a published writer. And this is Zats. My dogs want to go outside to go for their morning walk. My hair's up in these weird ass Princess Leia buns because I'm trying to curl it with no heat. And my laundry machine is going. Perfect time to make a video, right? Today we're talking about YouTuber books. More specifically, YouTuber books that I actually enjoy. There was this whole thing going around kind of about how, YouTubers are sellouts and they're just getting, ghostwriters to write their books, or they're writing books just to sell something to their viewers and the books are trash. So I wanted to see if I could find YouTuber books that weren't trash and that I would actually enjoy reading. So I just recently read Melanie Murphy's If Only. Okay, so this book is not normally a genre that I would read. It's kind of a, I think it's called magical realism, which is, super cool, just not normally my jam. Plus, it's also really contemporary, so very set in the real world, which again is not normally books that I read. But I really love Melanie, and I wanted to believe that she could be a good writer and not be one of those YouTube author sellout people. Which again is a whole conversation in and of itself, because if someone writes a book and they have a platform to utilize for writing that book, then what's the problem? If it's a good book. If it's not a good book and they're just selling you garbage purely because of their name, then they fucked up, because then you're never going to buy from them again. So really, who wins and who loses there? I can't talk and do this at the same time. I'm not sure what I'm making right now. Okay, I've got legs, maybe antenna. So this book is about an almost 30-year-old who has a lot going on in her life with her relationships and, jobs and stuff, and she is constantly reflecting on things that, she wonders about how life would have turned out if she had done certain things. There's a yellow jacket on my pillow. So she wonders about these certain things and wonders about what they would have done to her life, and then she goes to her grandmother's, who winds up giving her this necklace that gives her the power to experience 24 hours in an alternate world. Melanie does a really awesome job of touching on a lot of things that I think any almost 30-year-old young woman would be curious about. Body image, love, career. It's really cool to get those glimpses into the what ifs of the character. I really loved the characters in this story because I got really invested in everyone and how everything was going to turn out for them. I actually hated the main character to start off with. She was annoying and very trivial and super judgmental. Which, I guess we all are to a certain extent, but man, she was frustrating, she was irritating to begin with. But then by the end of the book, I was really invested and wanted her to have her happily ever after. Everybody deserves a happily ever after. Oh, this one does not look as horn-like as the other one. Oh, I feel like this is gonna break the minute it starts to harden. The language in this book is really interesting, like I said, deviating from anything that I normally read, just because I like fantasy books, and I don't really like in fantasy books when they use modern language. I feel like it takes you out of the story and it just shows a lack of creativity from the fantasy author. So to read a book that was so prominent for daily current life was really cool, more than I thought it would be. So I enjoyed looking at it as someone who maybe 100 years from now would read this book and get a glimpse into what life was like for an almost 30-year-old girl in 2019 with internet and social media, and I don't know, it was really weird. It's kind of cool to look at it like that though. Does this look horn-like enough? Can you tell I'm really bad at multitasking? Basically, this was a really good book. I totally recommend it. 4.5 stars. You will probably anticipate the plot twist. Even though it crossed my mind as a possibility, I totally dismissed it immediately, thinking, oh no, she would never do such a thing. Well, she rips your heart out a few times in this story and then stitches it back up and then leaves you wanting more. So it was really great. I listened to this as an audiobook, and I am not normally one who enjoys audiobooks, so for me to have enjoyed it so thoroughly was kind of a big deal. Plus the reader has an Irish accent, and God, who doesn't love a good Irish accent? Truth About Keeping Secrets by Savannah Brown. It does a lot of poetry about like life and self-image and political, social justice kind of things. Her poetry is incredibly beautiful, and that background in poetry and really artistic imagery really shows through in the way that she writes the story. Like immediately you're brought into these characters' lives and you care. I just realized that my video stopped recording. I think I was talking about Savannah's video, or Savannah's book. All I was trying to get at was that she has a really beautiful way of bringing the characters to life in a really haunting and self-reflective kind of way, because she touches on these themes about life and purpose and death and the depth of feeling that you have when you are, you know, a teenager and in your early 20s and you're trying to figure out life. So really cool book, 4.5 stars. Go read. The third book that I read was The Savior's Champion by Jenna Moreci. I found Jenna Moreci when I was doing AuthorTube searching, just trying to get tips and learn as much as I can and absorb info from writers and about writing and everything. So I found her, stumbled upon her, and actually I first read her book Eve. I actually didn't finish the whole thing. I just couldn't get into it. I wasn't invested, and that could just be a me thing because that's generally not a genre that I am really all about. Like I really have to be in the mood to read sci-fi type of books. Didn't really enjoy that one, didn't finish it, but I wanted to give The Savior's Champion a chance because that's way more my genre. I love the tournament trope where the main character has to enter this tournament to compete for the king, queen, princess, something or other, whether it's like romance or some sort of fighter, whatever. I really enjoy books like that, so I was pretty excited to see what this story would be like. I won't say that I was disappointed because I did actually enjoy the story. I finished it through, and like I wanted the conclusion of an ending. So I did really enjoy that, but it's definitely not the best fantasy book that I've read, nor does it really come close. I would say maybe 3 stars for this one. There was just a lot that wasn't fleshed out, I feel like. The characters were sort of one-dimensional, except for the 2 main characters. I was definitely involved in their story and the romance that unfolded with them. But as far as tension goes, I didn't really care that much about anyone, like whether they lived or died or not. So when all of these fight scenes were going on, which were really awesome and fun to read, I will say, that was the best part. I enjoyed it from, I think, a writer's standpoint in the fight scenes, because it was really cool how she brought me into the fight scene. But in regards to like the actual plot and the characters, I didn't care that much what happened to them. The thing was that the world building was a little lacking. I feel like she just gave us this really brief little shadow, and then that was kind of it. You had to fill in all of the holes for yourself, which I mean is fine, but also the reason I read fantasy books is to get brought into a new world, and I just feel like some of that creativity maybe wasn't lacking, but she just didn't take the time to make that a priority, which I feel like was a misstep, because it could have made the story so much more engaging, and it could have made the stakes higher with the conflict that was brought into the story. Ultimately, I really enjoyed it, and if you enjoy it, very easy, simple, just kind of entertaining fight scene story with a little sprinkle of romance, then I think you could enjoy it too. So yeah, I think that was all I said. I no longer have clay on my hands because I went to wash my hands. I will be posting my Monster-a-thon book monster challenge video within the next few days. So happy reading, happy writing, and I will see you guys in the next one. Thanks for watching.